What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Um, I want to talk about a subject that a lot of people don't want to, they just don't want to face the truth when it comes to the WNBA and the WNBA growing and all of this stuff. A lot of people think that because, like Caitlin Clark is going to be able to come into the WNBA and put the WNBA on her shoulders and save the WNBA, take it to another level, right? When I think that I don't think that I don't think that it's really possible. And not because Caitlin Clark is not a great ball player or anything like that. I think Caitlin Clark is a great ball player. And if you want somebody to um to be the face of the league and somebody to lead your league, like she's the one that you want to have. When you look at her work ethic, you look at like her dedication and how she handles herself on and off the court. And that's, like I said, she's a person that you wouldn't mind having be the face of the league. But the success of the league is not really up to like what Caitlin Clark do or what Caitlin Clark don't do. I think it's more so about Caitlin Clark having to compete with the men's game. And right now, the men's game is during this playoffs, a lot of excitement about the men's game, right? And so I think that this excitement will bring back the fans, like some of the fans who went over to women's basketball and started following women's basketball. I think it's going to bring those people back to the NBA. And the reason is people like myself who like basketball and want to see good quality basketball, no matter who's playing it. You also want to see the best product, right? And so there's no comparison between the men's game and the women's game, like as far as like which product is the best. And when the NBA is right and the NBA is these guys are playing basketball the way they should be playing, then the interest is going to be up, and that means that the WNBA is going to suffer because of those. I think like some of that interest is going to go down. Now, a lot of people also watch the WNBA because of like the drama and stuff that goes on with Caitlin Clark and some of the young ladies around the league. People think that she's being treated unfairly and stuff like that. So that type of drama kind of like it draws interest, you know, but is that interest enough to really help the league grow? Like long term, like will that interest help it grow? And I don't think so. I think like the quality of the game is what in the long term will decide if it grows. But like I said, the WNBA can't compete with the NBA. And so I also believe that it's not even in the NBA's best interest for the WNBA to grow. And if you look at it from a money standpoint, right? Just from merchandising, like the NBA just sells so much more merchandise, like when it comes to sneakers and t-shirts and jerseys and stuff like that. Um, they just sell so much more merchandise. Like if Caitlin Clark was to become like a big mega star, she still wouldn't sell as much merchandise because say like, like she have a sneaker coming out. Her sneaker is not really going to sell in the boys market, not in my opinion. Like you don't really see women's like little boys wearing Caitlin Clark or any female. Take any female athlete. Like you don't see little boys wearing female athletes gear and their jerseys and stuff like out on the playgrounds and stuff like that. So you don't see that. So her market would be limited. Like you'll see little girls who wear Caitlin Clark shoes or Asia Wilson. I think Asia Wilson have a shoe. Now I know the other young lady, what's her Angel Reese, she's with Reebok. But I don't know if Angel Reese have her own signature shoe. I think she's just a representative of Reebok. I've seen her wear the Allen Iversons, like the answer. I've seen her wear those shoes, but I don't know if Angel Reese has a signature shoe or her own. I just know Asia Wilson and Caitlin Clark, they have signature shoes, right? And so for that reason right there, from a financial standpoint, sponsors and the NBA are going to make more money off of the men's league than they will the women's league. And so it wouldn't make sense for them to pour all their money and pour all their resources into the WNBA when the market is limited, and part of the reason why it's limited too also is because women don't even really support the WNBA like like what men support like what men support. And women actually support the NBA. You'll see women with jerseys on of NBA ball players, and then you see little girls with like Jordans on or LeBrons and stuff that they'll wear that stuff right there. So that the men's side is where the money is at. And so with the NBA really subsidizing the WNBA, and I think that's probably just to appease a certain market. There is a limited market for the WNBA, but the WNBA will never be on a level as the NBA. And so that's why, I wouldn't think that they will be able to expand too much more than where they are. Um, I remember watching the the WNBA back when they had Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, the Houston Comets. And the Comets not even in the league anymore. That team was like I don't know what they did with that team, but that team is I don't know if I heard they couldn't sell it, so they just abandoned that team, the Houston Comets, and they did away with it. But there are only 13 teams in the WNBA, which lets you know that the market is limited, and so you have two times, the NBA is more than two times the size as far as teams than the WNBA. And so, that's why I really try not to really get caught up in like what's going on, like the drama, like these, the back and forth with Caitlin Clark and some of these other young ladies. I'm just interested in the basketball part of it. And some people say, well, she hit these logo threes and that's different. And I think people have to really think for themselves. Number one, she's an excellent shooter, but she's not the only one to hit the logo three. Caitlin Clark is not. Sabrina Ionescu can shoot those long threes like that, and she was in the league way, not way before, but a couple years, at least about 2 or 3 years before Caitlin Clark. So that's not really what's going to elevate. Logo threes is not really what's going to elevate the WNBA, in my opinion. I think, like I said, their growth is temporary. And it's still being subsidized by the NBA. And the NBA, I can't see NBA or sponsors really pouring a whole lot of money into a league that really won't be able to sustain. They won't get a lot of return. They won't get the return that they would investing their money in the NBA or having like with one of those guys like Tyrese Halliburton. Like if Tyrese Halliburton, if he wins a championship and he's in Indiana with Caitlin Clark, he would way overshadow Caitlin Clark. A championship in Indiana from with Tyrese Halliburton, he would way overshadow Caitlin Clark. They just would be so much bigger. They already are, but he would just way overshadow her. There would be so much more money to be made off of a championship from the Pacers than the Fever. And that's in the town where Caitlin Clark is, you know what I mean? Like she's a rock star, in that town. So if she wouldn't be able to withstand that kind of hit in her own town, then just imagine like around the rest of the WNBA, the league and stuff like that. So yeah, I just think that it's going to be hard for the WNBA to be able to continuously grow, and Caitlin Clark won't be able to say the WNBA. And it's not just about Caitlin Clark. It's you got Nafisa Collier, then you have Asia Wilson, you have the young lady in Dallas, Enrique, and Angel Reese. I mean, you got a lot of really good ball players in the WNBA. But the level of play in the WNBA is just not what the men's is. And so Um, it won't be like, they won't be able to grow like what the men. All the men have to do is really just get their acts together and play basketball like they know they're supposed to, and then the fans will be back. And so, yeah, so, and I know, and but I just made this video about Caitlin Clark because I think Caitlin Clark fans are kind of delusional when they think that this young lady will be able to build this league or elevate this league, and it's just not going to happen from a financial standpoint. It don't make any sense. So that's my take on it. Um, Make sure to like and subscribe. Also leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video.